The composer for Reservation Dogs has his own music to share. Plus, a designer and photographer duo won a Cultural Recognition Grammy Award for Visual Arts. I'm Mackenzie Allen Charmley. Join us for those interviews, plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 Indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of Indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class Indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
Chinangale, we're so happy you could join us. We start in Washington, D.C., where the National Congress of American Indians made its 2023 State of Indian Nations address. It was Quinault citizen and NCAI President Bon Sharp's fourth time giving the speech and the first to be held in person since 2020. Sharp stated that not only do Natives have a seat at the most important tables right now, but they have influence at those tables. The president touched on Indian Health Service funding, the Violence Against Women Act, and other critical pieces for tribal nations. Specifically, Sharp called for the passage of the Honoring Promises Act, which would seek to fund tribal nations at levels promised through treaties. For more highlights from this year's address, visit ictnews.org and search for Colby Kicking Woman's story titled Nothing Can Stop Us. Well, Alaska's sitting U.S. representative addressed a joint session of legislators for the first time in decades. Last week, Representative Mary Sattler-Peltola spoke at the state capitol in praise of bipartisanship. The coalitions that control the state's House and Senate work together in what Peltola calls the Alaska model. In the state's House and Senate, lawmakers need the support of other parties to pass laws. Unlike laws passed by Florida lawmakers, Alaska legislators have a consensus in not advancing controversial legislation. Florida and other similar Republican-led states have the judiciary, House, Senate, and governor all aligned in one party, making it easy to advance contentious laws. In her speech, Peltola emphasized the value in Alaskan legislators speaking in one voice. The 50th anniversary of the Wounded Knee occupation is fast approaching. ICT's Stuart Huntington sat down with Indigenous Rights Act advocates who were in South Dakota during the 1973 event.
For those that were there, the memories are still fresh.
We were surrounded by military.
Like a war zone, you know.
It was a combat zone.
When they opened up, they weren't messing around. So if you was in a line of fire, a bullet hit you, you're gone.
And I was a medic. There was 4 of us that were medics, and we were all women. And every night was a firefight. We got our packs together, and we went out. We each had bunkers that we took care of.
Born of opposition to the tribal government of Oglala Sioux President Dick Wilson, the takeover grew to cast a spotlight on demands for Native rights across the country and raise the profile of the American Indian movement and leaders Russell Means, Clyde Bellecourt, and Dennis Banks. At least 3 people were killed and more than a dozen wounded during the 71-day standoff, and that violence complicates the action's legacy. But today, many cite the Wounded Knee 73 takeover as a historic milestone in the movement for Native American rights, dignity, autonomy, and sovereignty.
That was a key turning point. Whether people supported the American Indian movement or the people who were involved there or not, most Indian people benefited from it in one way or another.
If it wasn't for the American Indian movement, most of the rights that Indian people have today wouldn't be there. It created the conditions. It created the conditions for many of the rights that we have within this system exist today. I don't think there would be Indian gaming today without the American Indian movement. I don't think that there would be tribal colleges today without the American Indian movement. I don't think that there would be Indian Education and Self-Determination Act I don't think that there would be the Native American Freedom of Religion Act. I don't think there would be many.
In Carbondale, Colorado, Stuart Huntington, ICT.
Well, a pair of legendary Indigenous actors made a guest appearance on a popular streaming series. The HBO show The Last of Us takes place in an apocalyptic future where zombies created by fungus take over the world. In the 6th episode, its main characters come across an older Native couple played by Elaine Miles and Graham Greene. The actors, best known for their portrayals in Northern Exposure and Dances with Wolves, make the most of their 5 minutes of screen time. Their chemistry as the couple Marlon and Florence is off the charts, reports Polygon.com, and on social media, many Indigenous people posted about how refreshing it was to see Native people surviving and still finding a way to tease. Though there's no telling if Marlon and Florence will show up again, The Last of Us is streaming now on HBO Max. And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. The composer for the award-winning television series Reservation Dogs is making his own music. Musical artist Mato Wayuhi has garnered a critical acclaim from NPR, Tidal Amazon Music, and Apple Music. He appeared on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list in the Hollywood and Entertainment category, joining us today in studio to tell us about his new music release. Welcome, Mato.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
It's great to have you here. Your new song, Stank Face, is coming out this week. What can you tell us about it?
Stank Face is a single that is produced and written by me and features the Yavapai Apache rapper Ash the Hunter. And yeah, it's a song that I just made that I really like, and I'm stoked. And it's there's a music video coming out in tandem with it that I directed, and it contains footage of when I performed at the halftime show for the Phoenix Suns on January 8th. And so yeah, it's kind of a cool little music video, and tells that kind of story and everything like that. So
you wrote, directed, and produced all the content for the song. What's it like being involved in so many parts of the creative process?
Really stressful. A lot of tears. No. It can be stressful, but I think I've just learned that that's how I operate the best. And it's not necessarily a possessiveness of all these different creative categories. It's just more so I really love the process of making all these things. I really love collaborating with the director of photography, and I love coloring the footage and editing, and we shot the whole music video on 16mm film, so it was really fun to just kind of have that different type of visual integrity of the video. And yeah, I just love that. I like operating in that way, and I feel like it's just, I found my rhythm, you know?
You mentioned that you performed the song at a Phoenix Suns halftime show. What was that experience like, and how did it feel to share your music with that audience base?
It was pretty nutty. I'm a huge NBA fan, and so I was a huge Phoenix Suns fan back when they had their Amari Stoudemire, Steve Nash era. So it was really cool. It felt like a full circle moment in a way, and I was grateful the song was not even complete yet, and so I got to hear it on stadium speakers, which was kind of cool to see what the vibes were like. And yeah, I was just excited. I really love community. And with this whole release, the music video is premiering at the Indie Film Festival in downtown Phoenix the whole week, and I'm here with y'all doing this thing. So it's cool, and I love the communal aspect of it. So the Suns game was kind of an extension of that, to perform for Native folks and non-Native folks alike, and just to kind of celebrate the music.
You were the composer for Reservation Dogs, and I'm sure composing for film and TV is a little different than your personal endeavors. Mm-hmm. Can you highlight some of the differences?
That's a great question. Oh my God, I love that. The biggest differences with my music and Reservation Dogs is basically kind of the intention with it. So with Reservation Dogs, I am doing anything and everything I can to service the narrative of the show. So the music just kind of moves the story forward. So they might ask me, hey, can you make something that sounds like, an old 60s R&B song or something? And so I have to just kind of service that. And it makes me such a better musician, because I'm basically kind of morphing, I'm a little chameleonic in a way, just able to make what they need. With my own music, it's whatever my heart desires, which can be easier and harder sometimes. But I like to think of it as a very symbiotic relationship because, you know, Reservation Dogs, when I compose for it, season 3 coming soon. When I compose for it, I am becoming a better musician because it's stretching me a little bit. I'm getting a little more flexible with what I'm trying and different like genres and what I'm capable of. And then that really services my music too. And so, yeah, it's a nice relationship I have with the two.
Sterling Harjo, creator and showrunner of Reservation Dogs, has stated your creative work belongs to that of the Indigenous arts renaissance in that it doesn't need permission, it exists unapologetically. How does it feel to be a part of a time where Indigenous representation in the arts industry is up and coming?
It feels really great. I think I'm really honored to be a part of that conversation and contribute to this. I don't want to say Renaissance is an interesting word. I would almost compare it more to continuation. Because I look up to those dudes. I look up to Sterling, I look up to, you know, my friend Tasba and Tommy Pico and all these different, Heather Ray, all these different folks who kind of set the blueprint for what I just want to celebrate and expand on. And so it feels really cool. I'm really excited. You know, my collaborators are everything that I have, and everything that we're learning is borrowed and continuing on for the next generation. So I'm always thinking that. I'm always kind of 5 years ahead in every moment, which is a lot. But it's really cool. I'm really grateful for it all.
I want to dive into your musical background and a little bit of your origin story. How did you really get involved to get to the point to where you are now in music?
I have no musical training whatsoever. I got kicked out of band and orchestra because I just couldn't sit still, couldn't pay attention. I was a class clown growing up. You probably can't tell. And so I didn't really have any, I knew I could keep rhythm, and I knew that I was very informed by Lakota culture. So I'm from the Oglala Lakota tribe in Pine Ridge. And so, yeah, just going to ceremonies and stuff, singing, I think, as a lot of Indigenous people will say, you know, it's just kind of, it's not really a conversation. It's just you were brought up singing or celebrating or dancing and stuff. And so, yeah, that was kind of in the fabrics of who I am just as a person and culturally. And so when I started making music, I just kind of fell in love with music as a place to go, especially in my teenage years when I was running around being the silliest. And so I really fell in love with music, and then I realized, I kind of took stock of like where we were digitally in the world. I was like, I can just do this, and I don't necessarily need to know how to play a piano or play guitar. I can program things. And so my laptop became my main instrument. And so, yeah, I just kind of really embarked on that, and I was around 16, and I just started, and it's funny, I had such an unbridled confidence when it came to making music, more so than I've ever felt before. The moment I heard my voice on a track, it was over. I was like, okay, this is my life now. And so it was really cool, and I just was grateful to gradually kind of get to a place of feeling self-sufficient and also collaborative, and yeah, it was really nice.
Do you have any advice for aspiring creatives, Indigenous creatives in the music industry?
Yeah, I would say love yourself is a great one. Also, trust yourself. Trust whatever you're feeling in here in terms of your musical route. Also, build horizontally, I think, is a really good thing that I was able to internalize, you know, building with who you have around you, not necessarily going and trying to reach up for something. And yeah, I think just try something different, and it's about the destination. Or no, sorry, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey, not the destination. And yeah, like I didn't know I was gonna go this way of like composing for film and TV. I was not in my cards whatsoever. And so I'm grateful for it though, and it's helped me. So yeah, just like keep an open mind. And those are some nuggets that I can give to the kids.
With your new song coming out this week, ultimately, what are you hoping audiences take away from it?
Stank Face is a victory lap to me. It's a victory lap celebrating the embrace of family, and their humor, their beauty, their cultural legacy. And that's something that I really put into the music. And I would love for people to get that out of it. And that's something I talked with Ash, the featured artist on it, as when she was writing her rap, I said, just talk about, like, get really hyper specific about who you love, why you love them. And that's kind of how I put, that's the energy I put into the song.
Well, the video will be officially premiering at the Indie Film Fest in downtown Phoenix, but we have a sneak peek to share with you right now.
Went and got a raise and made my own parade, yo. I guess you could say, ain't no rain, no. Little eyes watching signs to the 7Z line in the casino, the grind, go on wine with pool sides. That's a meager piece of pie all alone in your king size room. Go roam with your buddies from back home. I know my way around a butt of a joke. Uncle said that I'm too Hollywood to dig him a hole. That was a grave mistake, now I'm rescinding his role as the greatest native actor South Dakota, come on.
Well, we can't wait to see the whole video. The song is available to stream everywhere on Friday, 2/24. Mato, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We have more on Native creatives in the arts and entertainment industry. A photographer and designer duo recently won a Cultural Recognition Grammy Award for Visual Arts. Joe Pekara has now won 3 Grammys and 2 Sony Music Awards for photography. Norma Baker Flying Horse, also known as Red Berry Woman, was chosen as the feature artist to design the garments for the shoot. ICT's Paris Wise sat down with them for the story.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, and congratulations. You guys have both acquired some serious achievements, so let's get into it. Joe, you have set the record for the most Grammy nominations and wins for visual arts. Congratulations. How does that feel? And tell us about when you got the news.
Those numbers of what I've received for myself these last few years of working is shocking. Because I don't pay attention to that stuff. So to just look at it, it makes me smile. I try to take it in, but I try to focus on what I love and not what I receive, I guess.
And Norma, when Joe reached out, what were your thoughts when he came to you in doing this?
I wasn't comprehending that he was trying to share the award with me. I just thought he wanted me to dress him for the award or something. So when it finally started sinking in, when he started sending me the emails and the Grammys, the paperwork, I guess, the verification that it was true, I still to this day do not know how to put into words the honor that this is, and not only be recognized by the Grammy Association, but the honor that someone like Joe, who is doing fantastic work out there, he's really being a leader for so many people, and for someone like him to want to share that with me, that actually meant more that he would even consider that than actually receiving the award.
I chose Norman. I wanted her to choose all these models. And so I was always interested. I never asked Norma her influence on the dresses or the model she chose. I know I had 2 that I hoped to be there, but she chose the rest. And they were all Indigenous models that came to the shoot. And we did a shoot in Deadwood, South Dakota was it an Airbnb land?
Yeah.
Set up a teepee, and there was 2 spots. We did 2 different kind of shoots. We did some in a teepee and then some off. And Norma's niece and son danced on the side on one of the spots. And it was just an awesome experience. So all these, was there 7 or 8 models?
7, yeah.
All got a Grammy stamp photo from the Academy. And it was just a great experience to be a part of. It was probably my favorite part about receiving the award, was getting people beyond me and Norma. And that was also one of my goals, was to how can we stretch this award beyond myself and Norma? We were able to get, including Tessa and Elmer, 9 other Indigenous people included in the award, for them to all receive a Grammy stamp photo.
I feel like with each garment that I had chose to do, I kind of really went off of the models, and every one of the models that we had, some of them have been models that have modeled with me since my very first runway. And then some of them were models that I had met along the way at different shows and continued to dress. And then, of course, we had Juana Chasing Horse, who was part of the shoot as well. You know, it was really cool having her there because she, you know, we left her for the last, but not because we were like, oh, she's Juana, you know. It was because I wanted her to have time with the models. And during the process of them getting ready, you know, hair and makeup, doing hair and makeup and doing this and that, she was visiting with each of them. You know, she was having side conversations with each one because we were like just a big family. We had food, you know, going on, and people were getting their hair and makeup done, and we were outside shooting. And so it was really cool. It was really a laid back, you know, photo shoot. And every time I had seen Juana visiting someone, it made me feel really happy because, you know, even if they weren't aspiring to be models, you know, this is just something they like to do. There's the fact that she's out there and she's in these spaces and she's using, you know, the space to speak on these topics that have not been spoken on before or have been ignored. You know, it's really cool for our young people, you know, and of course everyone there was younger than me. So, you know, so it's really, really important for them to see it. She's out there. She's doing what she loves. She's doing, and that could be you too.
Norma, your designs have been on red carpets at the Oscars, the Grammys, most recently the NFL Super Bowl. And Joe, you also have 2 Sony Music Awards for photography. I mean, what does it mean for your guys' work to be seen on some of the biggest stages in the world?
To me, it's always like my first Grammy hasn't set in, so to like see 2 more on my shelf is gonna take a long time to like really understand how hard work really pays off, I guess. I always try to tell people, like, if you do what you love, it'll go farther than if you try to do it for money. Because my love is always in the photography. And like I said, I never did it for awards. So to be awarded and to have people recognize my work without even pushing it to be recognized is the biggest thing for me.
I always encourage my clients, whether they're Native or not, that to learn what it is they're wearing, because it's so important for them to be able to explain what it is, where it came from, you know, and not just that I made it, but where are those practices coming from? Are they coming from the Hiradza? Are they coming from the Dakota Sioux? Those things I feel are very important for people to know when they've decided to support Native, you know, designers and wear their garments. So whether you're Native or not, these are things that you should really understand and know about what you put on. Just the same as we do when we put on our cultural attire, we know why we're wearing each piece and what we're wearing it for and why it's supposed to be done the way it is. For me, that's really important to have that component of our mentalities as tribal people remain in Native fashion.
I wonder what you both would say to, you know, people in our community who want to venture out into these industries that you guys have broken into and acquired a lot of success in, because it can be intimidating or it can be a little overwhelming entering this space where people might not understand your work.
You're going to have to fail a million times before you succeed, but the only way to succeed is to learn how you failed and why you failed to move forward. I don't think people telling you this wasn't good enough is excluding you from becoming something that is good enough. And for how many photos I've taken back to like wildlife and stuff, a lot of people don't know how many shots I have failed to get a Grammy shot or just a bird shot that I like. I've sat with owls for like 3 hours just waiting for them to fly to then not be ready. No matter what you do, you're going to fail.
I always try to tell people you are going to be scared. That's a given. A fear is a given thing, whether or not it's a lot or a little, you'll have it. And how you use that feeling is really going to determine whether or not if you're gonna make it in this type of field, fashion, modeling, photography. You have to be afraid to fail, and you have to be afraid to fail, and you have to be afraid to fail, and you have to be all of these things, because that fear that you're feeling is going to be energy, and that energy is what you need to use to just jump in.
Norma Baker Flying Horse and Joe Pekara, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ittnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.